The Frolic Mills Show is brought to you by Redgrave.
The Frolic Mills Show! Frolic and his guests discuss how to make a real-life living in Second Life so you too can find out how top content creators and virtual artists ended up on top of their game. And now, put your hands together for Frolic! Oh, baby. Mills!
Good morning, Second Life. Welcome to the Frolic Mills Show. Today we have a fantastic show for all of you. It's been a long time since I've been in contact with the breedables. The first one we ever covered was the chickens, and of course, I covered that on the Best of SL magazine, and I called it El Pollo Loco. But a lot has happened since. Horses came about, rabbits came about, and all kinds of breedables came about. But lately, I have been hearing a lot about a new one that is releasing this spring, and it's not out quite yet. But I am here with Levio Serenity of the wonderful world of Meeroos. And apparently this is a new, and a lot of enthusiasm has been brought about by this Meeroos, cutest little thing ever. And so we decided to do a show because I know people with a lot of questions. I'm on their group, and there's people asking questions 24/7. So here we are. I brought the man himself, the scripter, who, of course, knows everything that will happen. I actually asked him today, or said that to him today, and he said, well, I don't know if I know everything, but I pretend like I do. So, hey, so if so we don't know what's going to happen, but this should be interesting. Everybody, please welcome Levio Serenity, owner of the Meeroos. Welcome, Levio.
Thank you so much, Frolic, for having me.
You're very welcome.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, my other two team members couldn't make it today on the short notice, but...
Yeah, okay. But that's no problem. Like I said, the scripter is the man behind the breedables, and I know that for a fact. I mean, yes, there's a lot of design and marketing and all kinds of things that also go around, which I'm sure it's helpful to the project. But nonetheless, the scripter is a guy who knows how this breedable is going to happen, which is, takes me to my first question. How are Meeroos going to be any different, if anything, from the rest? Can you give us a little bit of information about that?
Well, I'll tell you what I can about them. I'm not very good at comparing and contrasting them to other breedables because honestly, before this project, I wasn't really into breedables. Someone gave me a bunny one time, and I rezzed it, and it was a little black ball, and that's about my extent to breedables. My own self, but I've had lots of friends that have breedables, so I knew how crazy popular and stuff they were. I think when I first started talking with our team about it, what I'd seen about the breedables was, you get a couple of them and you throw them out and you wait a week and you get another one, and that's just that rinse and repeat, and the only game there is reselling on the secondary market. And I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, I want this to be like a game. I want to have levels. I want to be able to level up. I want to be able to interact with the pets. I want to have, all these things around it, a website made. And so it's meant to be a much more immersive experience and something you play at and work out throughout the day. I didn't, so I started, of course, looking around other breedables and stuff, and you see all these farms, and you go there and you just see, hundreds of animals lined up in perfect rows. I was like, okay, I don't want it like that. I want these things to act like they're alive, not just, set out in a grid of a 10 by 10 of 100 animals, and you just, sit there and watch them and watch all the floating hypertext and wait,
Right. Now, Olivia, when you say level up, do you mean that because I know there's a lot of different little things that make a breedable more valuable than another. Now, with the leveling up, do you mean like they'll have different powers or more skills? Will they be worth more if they're a higher level, or what is this leveling up thing?
The leveling up is primarily for players themselves. The Meeroo will have what we call regard. How well the Meeroo love you. It's tied into the idea of fellowships. That basically, if you know guilds from other games, it's the same sort of thing. It's meant to be more of a collaborative experience, and so you're going to, want to actually, breed your Meeroos with your friends that are in your fellowship, and that sort of thing. So the Meeroos, they're not gonna level up themselves and gain powers. They will gain more regard and become more valuable over time. The leveling up and unlocking things and getting achievements and all that sort of stuff is for you, the player.
Got it. Okay. And what can we expect, Levio, as far as breeding? Usually, like I said, I am no expert, and that's why I'm very happy that all these enthusiasts of Meeroos came about, because I'm sure they have better questions than I possibly do. I did my homework, and I did go through your website and the Meeroos, and of course, I don't know if everybody knows this, but the Meeroos will be featured on the front cover of the Best of SL magazine this March. And so we're doing a lot of investigation about them. But nonetheless, I know with other breedables, you take, a female and a male and you breed them and something comes out. And depending on what comes out, whether it has some kind of glow or shininess or whatever, it's more valuable than others, for example. How will this work with the Meeroos?
Well, the same sort of thing. There's an extensive genetic process. I'm in the middle of working on right now and kind of testing how that is, where it keeps track of all the genetics for each Meeroo and all the dominant and recessive genes that can be on multiple loci and all that sort of thing. So what you get from that is, of course, Meeroos with what we call different species of Meeroos. Each species is going to come from a certain part of the world. Like, say, one of the first ones is the pine Meeroo. It's supposed to be from the USA. But within that species, there's going to be multiple coats of multiple rarities. So you'll start off with the common ones and be able to breed towards rarer and rarer versions.
Right.
Of course, the Meeroos have eyes. At last count, I think Chim has made over 100 different eyes in the database, and she's still cranking out more. And again, there's different rules about how those will work with the genetics about what kind of eye you're going to get, and there's some exciting stuff there. The Meeroo themselves can actually be born with varying numbers of prims, from 13 to 17 prims, and so that's going to be determined on the parts that it's born with. So you might be able to guess that there's going to be some rare parts coming down the line. I won't go into what exactly, but that sort of thing. So.
Well, Levio, but can you give us a little bit of what sort of genetics or what sort of characteristics would make a really is a very rare Meeroo? Because let's say I want to go into this, and I'm probably will, because I even designed a cute little garden, very futuristic and very beautiful to breed a Meeroo in. And for example, let's say I get my female and my male, and off I go, and I want to start breeding. How do I know if is there going to be a website that tells you which is the rarest one, which is like a medium rare? You know what I mean? Because I'm a marketing guy in real life and also an economist, and I know that the more difficult something is to breed, well, obviously the more expensive it will be. Now, one of the problems I always have with breedables is that there isn't a chart or a full explanation of what is what. Like in real life, dogs, they have a value, or they're more beautiful because the straight bones and this and the fur and the shininess, and you know what I mean. There's all these little things that determine the value of an animal in real life. Now, is there going to be
Sure.
something, some kind of information where we can go, okay, I got the blue eyes and I got the shiny coat. Okay, so this is a rare one, but maybe there's one that is unique. I mean, nobody else will be able to get it. You know what I mean? All these kind of things is what makes something valuable from something that is common. Can you explain to us how this is going to work for the marketplace?
Yep, I think we got you covered there. There is a HUD that is part of the game. You wear the HUD, it tells you, everything about you. You get information about your fellowship. You get news feeds about what's going on in the game. And there are a couple pages on the HUD devoted basically to inspecting your Meeroo. When you click on a Meeroo, the HUD flips to these pages, and it has all this stuff. We'll have all the pertinent information about this Meeroo and things like that, and all the different, all the different features of your Meeroo, the species, the coat color, what kind of tail it has, what kind of ears it has, all that stuff's listed there. And right there, it's going to show you the rarity level of each item. So you'll be able to tell right off the bat. The rarities are 1 through 6. 1 is your common, 6 is your, 1 in a million rare. And
wow, is it really 1 in a million?
Right,
is that the chance of getting it? Is it really 1 in a million chance of getting it?
Or
not quite.
At its base, there are certain things you'll be able to do while playing the game, which I won't reveal yet, that will be able to increase your chances of getting the rare things.
Right. Okay.
So.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I suppose, who dictates the I'm thinking that it's the people here who will basically be putting prices on them and how hard they are, because I know that nobody really, the owners of the games don't really put a price. It's basically the people who are, interested in them who raise usually the money, the worth of it through the auctions and that they do around them. But just in case it's not like that for the Meeroos, will you be establishing some sort of worth in lindens for this Meeroos, or will you let the auctioneers do that?
I think at this point we're just willing to let the market decide what things are worth. Okay. And I'm sure the first rare of each particular type will go for crazy money, but then as more of them breed out there, they'll start falling. Okay.
And how much is the starting kit? I guess we need a start kit and, to start breeding. You have any idea what kind of money are we talking there?
No, since we're still only in alpha, we're not even looking at that. We'll, when we get towards, closed beta or open beta, that's Catherine's the one in charge of all of our sales and marketing stuff. And so she'll figure out, so obviously whatever is, going market rates for other breedables that we'll be competing against. Obviously, we can't be, too far off what those current prices are. So,
right, okay, and Levio, talk to me about the people involved in this company. Is Catherine the owner? Are you the owner? What's going on?
Okay, the company is a three-person partnership between Catherine, Chimeric Crescendo, who's the artist. He does all the sculpts, all the textures, all the Meeroo animations you see, and myself as the scripter developer. And so we're all in this as equal partners. We're not like, I'm not like just scripting this for hire, and as soon as they're out, I'm going to bolt or something. We're all here to, see this project throughout the next year at the very least, I would imagine.
Awesome. Okay, I just heard from a person here. When will it start? Mimi McMahon asks. Can we answer that?
When we get it ready, I told Catherine and Jim when we started up front, I want this to be a project like Blizzard. We're going to ship it when it's ready, which may not be when people are demanding it, right? And I told
Can we expect it in March, though? Do you think?
I'm hoping I'll be feature complete, sometime during March.
Awesome.
Meaning I've got everything added in that we plan on going live with. And then, of course, there's going to be, extensive alpha testing. And once we've got the vast majority of things ironed out, we'll open for closed beta and then an open beta. But hopefully my goal would be to have it really all debugged during the alpha, so the betas are just finding some of the more rare, obscure things. There's not going to be things pushed out where look now they're going to do this while you're in beta. Everything that they're going to do at the beginning of beta.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Well, listen, Levio, I have to tell you this. I am putting you on the cover of the Best of SL magazine, and that's going to be coming out in March 1st. So you better come out somewhere in March, because I would hate to lose my to be talking about something that doesn't exist and won't be out for years. So I'm hoping that at least you sell a Meeroo. I mean, even if it's just a little pet that we can hang in our shoulder or something for March.
I know there have been people asking for shoulder pet versions and whatnot. If you guys are really interested in that, all I can say is note card Catherine, and let her know that's what you want, and then maybe we'll get that, because we had a couple of requests here and there, but if we see it's an overwhelming thing we can't ignore, then maybe we'll get some movement on that.
Right. All right. Okay, and Kim too wants to know: are you going to make an Avi Meeroo?
It's possible, and we've talked about it. I think right now we're all so focused on getting these done and out, and that's certainly something that can easily wait until after we've launched to go back and do an avatar.
Right. Okay. Well, cool. All right. So, Levio, one question that I have not quite yet gotten my answer for is, because you're very good dodging questions, and I see that. I'm also very good returning to them.
Okay.
What are some very peculiar characteristics of a very valuable Meeroo? I want to know. I mean, because I've seen the Meeroos, and yes, for everybody here, they do have a secret set up so that my photographers can come in and do the story and take the pictures for the magazine cover. However, I want to know, right now, I've seen one that it's a little brown and gray, and yes, they're very, very cute, but, for example, would a level 6 Meeroo have, would it be red? And, what are the colors that we can look forward to in the development of these Meeroos as they start breeding? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm always excited, when somebody gets, oh my God, I got a,
Sure.
I don't know, a white horse, or the chickens. I remember the cool thing about the chickens was the glow, which I particularly hated, but people got so excited about having a chicken with glow, and it was like, whatever, So what are some characteristics that we can look for in expensive Meeroos?
Okay,
Yes, Susanna wants a pink one, for example. Are we going to have pink Meeroos, for example?
Well, okay, so you can imagine that there's rare species and coats that you'll probably have, some with more exotic markings than others, let's say, or more outrageous colors, perhaps. I will say we are never tinting, shining, glowing, any of those sorts of things are not going to be part of the Meeroo. Those are, I understand those are really easy to do, and you can throw them in there, but we just don't think those look good. You put the metal shine on an animal, that doesn't look right. That looks good for a robot, in my opinion, but not for a little cuddly creature. So it's not going to have those things.
That's awesome, because the things that I think would make something valuable and really unique is to keep the cuteness of the animal, and then maybe I get a really beautiful color, and maybe it's more furry than the other. See, these are things that, or maybe it has a beautiful coat around the chest, or what I mean, something that makes it a little different and more beautiful, but yet keeps it somewhat real, because that's those are things that I would consider valuable.
So, like I
Maybe
said,
even a more beautiful texture, you know, better textures, better this, better, more artistic value to the animal. Yeah.
it's
All
definitely
right. So
all
tell
that
me more.
stuff will be done through textures. You know, like there's like all the parts on them, the tails, the ears. Okay, obviously there's going to be rare versions of those, different forms. There's different hairstyles they have. I already alluded to there'll be some more exotic legendary parts that are going to show up later on.
Awesome. Okay, Levio, that's fine. And did you bring a Meeroo? I think some people want to see it.
Well, I had one out here at the beginning of the show, but we've lagged so bad it's like disappeared or something. I don't know where it's gone.
Oh, no.
There was one right here out here by the stump, but
Can you rest it again, maybe? Try?
I don't know.
Well, let's see what happens. Just put it on top of that trunk and see if it rests at least for the end of the show so people can see it. Yeah, there's a lot of lag. I'm sorry. And you told me, God, I hope the scripts work. What sort of scripts do you have in this particular one that you were resting? Was it supposed to do something? Move? What?
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be a fully functional Meeroo, but I've been up since 5 in the morning, working on stuff today, and how it usually last minute changes always tend to go awry, and so.
Right. Now, what is a fully functional Meeroo? What sort of capabilities does it have?
Oh, geez. Obviously they, can find their home, and then they'll hop around at random, sort of thing, and idle, do cute little animations, that sort of thing. When they get hungry, they're going to feed. When they're, when they're ready, they'll look for a mate to breed. There are some mini games I'm not allowed to reveal, but they are going to help you participate in some of those mini games, I guess.
Can they swim? Kim wants to know.
Can they swim? If when we make some aquatic ones, yes, they will probably swim.
All right. And so you said something about they will look for a mate. So it's not like you put them in a cage with, it's female. But if you had like one Meeroo, male Meeroo, and then many females, will it choose randomly, or will it go for the sexiest one, or what? I mean, just looking for a mate to breed. It sounds funny to me. How does he do that?
There is a breeding system. It doesn't work like what people are probably used to if they've done other breedables. The Meeroo they're meant to be, more like I guess a little more wild, less domesticated than perhaps the other ones. You can, if you really want, force them to be in pairs, but normally all the Meeroo on one particular stump are all considered eligible. And then, of course, depending on gender and right now, it's looking like we're not going to allow inbreeding, and there are different traits about different Meeroos that they may or may not find desirable about others, and so may pick mates based upon that. And all that does sound kind of complicated, I know, but the stump will tell you, when you've got the stump on there, you'll see the Meeroo listed, and it'll show you the available pairings on there. And so then if there is really a specific pair you want to breed, you can put them on a stump of their own off in the corner, sort of thing. Now, of course, they'll still have to be compatible amongst all those other things I mentioned earlier. So the idea there is to promote, you can put your stumps in fellowship mode, and then the other people in your fellowship, their Meeroo can come on there, and then your Meeroos can breed amongst others in your fellowship. So the idea is, okay, maybe you have a male and female, but they're not compatible. Okay, you'd put them on a fellowship stump, and your friend would come over and he'd bring his, and they could breed across each other's Meeroos. and so to encourage people interacting with other people more when they play the game.
Right. Okay. And I'm reading the group chat from the wonderful world of Meeroos, your group, and one of the things that is getting a lot of attention is the legendary parts. Talk to me about that. What are legendary parts, and what sort of parts could we expect?
I'm not telling that. You guys will have to wait.
Oh, come on. Give us something. Throw us a little bone.
That's going to be the excitement. After they've been out a month or two or something, and one of these things pops out, everyone's going to go crazy.
Well, but, is it what? Like they get a shiny armor, or is it like they come with a little dress, or what is legendary parts? At least give me an example of what it could be. Come on.
No, I've already said plenty.
Oh, come on. What? I mean, invent something. Make up something. Just say, like, okay, a legendary part could be a hat. I don't know. Something. A tobacco. What? What? A cigar. Make it up, yeah. Callie, I'm trying here. Everybody help me. Come on, give him a hand. Clap for him. Do something so he spills it out. Hey, do we have champagne or alcohol in this in the studio? We need to get this guy drunk. All right, fine. Lie to him. Callie just lie to him. Yeah. All right, fine. Okay, Levio, is there something that I should be asking that I'm not asking you yet? If not, then I'm going to pass it on to the audience because I'm sure they have a gazillion questions.
Yeah.
But, tell me more. Tell me whatever you need to tell me. Yeah.
Well, I want to hear the audience questions.
Okay.
Sure
all right, people, it's up to you. Let's see if you get this guy to sing. I have tried my best, but he's not spilling the beans, so you do it. I'm hoping they won't breed very often. What is the plan for that? Okay, so breedable time. What's happening with that?
Last time we discussed it, I think it's potentially we're looking at 10 days for them to grow, and then like a 10-day breeding cycle. So. The problem every breeder, the maker faces, these once they're out there, these things have exponential growth, and so what do you do to combat that? So I think we're going to go for a little longer breeding times.
Okay, so about 10 days. All right, and now about feeding the animals. Are we going to be feeding them? Will they die? What's up with that?
They, of course, there's food dishes for them, and each species has a different type of food that they will eat. And it's not that any one's going to be rare or more expensive or anything like that. Just you need to, if you have one that comes from a certain part of the world that doesn't eat the berries, you're going to have to get a different kind of food for them.
Okay, and Kiraka wants to know costing linens to feed them per day.
None of the pricing's been determined yet.
It has not been determined.
It's it may be a little more. I will say it may be a little more than other breedables, but we do not plan on having things like where they get sick and you got to buy stuff to fix them. And
okay. So no medicine.
Some of the others, there will be no medicine for Meeroos.
Okay, so they're magical, mystical, healthy.
I have anything to say, and I'm pretty sure the other team members are the same way. It's not. I mean, that just seems like a cheap thing to get more money out of people. And
I got it.
It's like so if we're gonna do that, just
Well, in real life, pets do get ill every once in a while, and we do need to take care of them. So I suppose it's valid, but. Well, I mean, I'm happy for that. We don't have to.
There are different ways. There will be different ways of taking care of Meeroo. You'll have things that you're going to do to take care of your own Meeroo, and then there's another sort of mini game you're going to have to take care of people in your fellowship, their Meeroo, and everyone's going to sort of get points, right? And the fellowship will go up if you go and interact with your friends' Meeroos that are in your fellowship.
So basically, they more than healthcare, you will have to socially interact with them for them to be better and better. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And another question I'm getting here: will the Meeroos be something based off of generics or random? That is asked by Morgan Swords.
Sorry, what was the question?
Will the Meeroos be something based off of genetics, or randoms?
Oh, it is genetics. Definitely, there's a whole genetic system in there. There will be there's a whole set of genes tracked for every Meeroo, dominant, recessive genes. If you're the sort of person that is into that and wants to like make a spreadsheet and figure out, this baby had this sort of hair, but this sort of tail, so I know the mother or father must have this sort of recessive gene, then you're going to love Meeroos. I will say there is, because it is a game, there is an abnormally large chance of mutation compared to real life. But you don't want to spend, real life to, breed out different traits and stuff can be, decades long process, and obviously that's not going to be fun for anybody. So there is a higher rate of mutation, and like I said, there will be things to do in game I can't reveal yet that can increase your chances of getting better things to.
All right. I got it. And this question that Robustus is just typing here, he said, someone is asking if you will be able to store them if you are going away, or if you're low on prims. And by the way, you mentioned something about different Meeroos having different amounts of prims. So you can get a Meeroo for 3 prims minimum and 17. You said
13.
Maximum
13 to 17.
And I'm guessing the more prims a Meeroo, the more expensive, right?
Yeah, I would guess so.
Ooh, so I'm guessing that's one of the trades. That's one of the
right.
What is it called?
The legendary parts.
The legendary parts.
So
yeah.
if you get a Meeroo with a couple extra legendary parts, hopefully you're going to cry too bad that it's taking up 2 extra prims than your other Meeroos, because you're going to go sell it for a fortune, right?
Yay, guys, we got something out of him finally. All right, good. So can you store them? What happens if you're low on prims? Is there a way to sort of keep them so that they're not, I don't know, the rest? I'm not sure what the question is. But can you store them if you're going away?
At this point in time, there is no suspended animation for them.
Okay.
If you're going to be gone for a long period of time, there's nothing that stops you from stockpiling as much food as you might possibly need. Like I said, if you're in a fellowship, you can have your Meeroo on a fellowship mode, and anybody from your guild can put down a food dish and mark it fellowship, and they'll be able to eat from that. So there's no reason they should go hungry. If you're just low on prims, then you probably need to sell some off.
Right. Okay. Levio Serenity is asking, limited breed like the dogs, or open breeding amounts like the horses?
That is still in flux right now. There will be most likely some sort of limit on the number of breeds or children each particular Meeroo can have. All
right. Let's see. Will they have twins or more?
No.
Susana, Spirit Weaver. Nope. No twins? Okay. Let's see. Okay, this guy, his name, I don't know if I can say it on TV, but apparently his name is Fuck Love. All right. Fuck Love wants to know, will they have varying numbers of Meeroos per each breeding, like 1 to 3 or something like that?
I guess
that's the same
is
question.
that number of children? No, right now there's going to be just one child each.
Just the one. Okay. Let's see what else I'm reading here.
Total number, there will probably be some number. I
Okay.
can't say what that is.
I like this question. Little T Babby is saying, will there be a planned in breeding pause? Like your Meeroos has a headache and won't breed for an extra 3 days? I love that.
No, we're experimenting with some different things like that. We're trying to come up with a system that's not too complicated, but it's not just okay, I bred and now I've got a stat that's going to go from 0 back up to 100, and then when I hit 100, I'm going to breed, and then it's going to go down to 0. Something a little more interesting that would, take some more thought around it than that, but that's still in flux right now. We're hashing stuff out and trying different things, so I can't really go into more than that.
All right, and this one is good. This one is a good, I like this question. How much time will need to be dedicated to each Meeroo on a daily basis in order to give them the very best care possible? In other words, to avoid the puppy mills and with other breedables, how many Meeroos could one avatar care for well? And this is a question by Cici Brune.
That is definitely a good question, and it's a balancing act. We want people to enjoy playing with their Meeroos on one hand, and definitely reward that sort of behavior. You don't want it to seem like it's a chore where there's like so much you got to do. So one of the things is, like I said, there's multiple mini games. There's a mini game in the HUD. There's a couple with the Meeroo and stuff like that. And the idea is that you don't have to do all of them. If there's one of the games you don't like, you don't have to play that one, right? You can do the other ones, and so you can pick and choose. So it'll be up to you. And I'm sure there'll be some people that go gung ho and do everything as much as possible for everything, and which is good. It's great for them, and we hope to reward that. And they're going to gain more regard and level up faster than somebody else. So part of the idea to avoid the puppy mills is people that just throw them out and don't interact. They aren't going to get those bonuses and stuff like that. And so yes, they may have larger number of Meeroos, but you want to see them fall behind in the breeding game because the other people that are participating and doing more things are getting the bonuses and getting better results.
Okay, thanks. And Robustus wants to know, do they perform mating acts?
I'll say they have like a cute little symbolic thing they do. You're not going to see anything graphic.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, this question is very interesting to me because I don't understand it, because it's probably because I don't know what breedable this is coming from. But Little T Babby also asks, will they need to stay out, or will they be safe in inventory, or will they die from sharp objects in your inventory?
Okay, the Meeroo are immortal. They will never die.
Okay.
But
Even if you don't feed them?
this doesn't mean you can neglect them. Right now, it's set at 3 days. If they go for 3 days without feeding them, they're going to run away.
And where do they go? To somebody else?
Okay, if
Or
they run away,
Oh.
they're gone. You will, based upon the feedback we got from our Q&A sessions back in January or something, you will probably be able to purchase a whistle that you can use to call them back. But it's not meant to be a substitute for just not feeding them for a month either,
Gotcha.
So you can pick them up and you'll be able to keep them in your inventory for up to 3 days, but by that time you better get them back out and better start feeding them before you hit that limit.
Okay, and so they sort of disappear, but you can call them back with a whistle. But where exactly do they just go invisible, phantom, and hide in your sim, occupying prims, or do they literally vanish off the sim altogether?
They will vanish.
Okay, so they will go. They will not take your prims, nor.
Right.
Okay.
Right. They are all
cool.
in the database though, and can be called back if needed. So.
You know what would be kind of cool, Levio? I'm just thinking, this is just me thinking out loud. Maybe they disappear and they appear in a barn that maybe it's made by you, and then if the owner wants it back, people can go buy it there or something, or people can just go buy whichever disappeared from neglect. That would be kind of like an animal shelter, exactly.
Yeah, lots of people talked about that, but somewhere, if Lyndon wants to donate us, 20 Sims to hold all these things, then that'd be great. But
well, obviously, maybe you can't do it with all of them, but maybe one Sim full. Because there is another question here that there's a very interesting story behind the Meeroos. Is there going to be like a Sim that we can go and somehow see some of this story laid out for us to visit?
I would love that. There's not one in the works at this time. That's one of the, like I said, all of us are all focused on actually getting these things out. And once we get some breathing room, that would be something I'd love.
Okay, good. Ariane says, please, do they give birth in a box or in a basket?
They have a little nest, actually. The part of the breeding process is the male will make a little nest for the female, and then when they have the little baby, you have the nest, and you'll use that to birth out new ones. There's a
awesome. All right. So, okay, guys, it looks like we've covered a lot, and hopefully this will give you a little more info about what everybody's waiting for. Because I'm going to tell you, usually in this show, what we do is we interview people who have been very successful already. I mean, we've had, Nikki Ree, we've had Reverend Penny Feather, we've had all kinds of designers and architects on the show. But, with this, it's the first time I've ever had a scripter, and especially with something that has not been out yet. But what has been right here is that the pre-marketing has been done very cleverly and very mysteriously, and that's why it caught my eye, and I think a lot of people, obviously, as we've seen how full the studio is, everybody's interested in them also. Okay, so how about the impact of the scripts on the sim? Okay, that'll be the last question. Are they going to be horribly laggy? Is it going to be a problem to have more than 10 rest? What's up with that, Levio? Tell us the truth. Because every script goes, oh no, very low, and then you rest all this crap, and it's like you can't even move. So tell us the truth, Levio.
The truth is, I'm trying to get 8 or under scripts for each Meeroo. Mm-hmm. When they go live, there is an extra script I have in them all now for debugging purposes. Hopefully, I can remove once we're good to go. The tree stump controlling them has a couple features built into it, where if no one is around, within like 32 meters or something, okay, it sees that no one's around, and it puts the Meeroo in an idle mode, where basically they're just going to sit there quietly, unless of course unless it's time for them to eat or breed or do something with a mini game or something like that. They're just going to patiently sit there. If someone shows up, then they'll all sort of be brought back to life, and they'll pop around and be all cute and all that sort of stuff. There is automatic things in the scripts looking at the sim's time dilation. So when it sees it gets laggy, I don't know, the Meeroo when I put it out, it just stood there because it's the sim dilation was dropped down to basically 0. So the Meeroo knew it basically shuts off the unnecessary parts where it's just hopping around being cute and everything.
Oh, so it has like a sleep function kind of thing, yeah?
Sort of. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's not completely asleep. If it needs to, it's not going to starve to death because there's no one around, or the sim's time dilation is too low. But it will sort of go into like a reduced function mode. That's
good. I think that's really good. All right, awesome. All right, guys. So thank you all very much. Producer, I'm ready to wrap it up, and I don't know. I think one of the things that we've learned from this show is, you can actually start having success even before you put out your product, and that is done through very clever marketing and with enough interest, giving them enough interest to your public right before you go live on air, as we say here on TV. Levio, thank you very much for this interview. Send all my love to Catherine. You'll see Catherine with a Meeroo on the cover of March Best of SL magazine. It comes out March 1st, and we'll have a really nice interview. Tons of pictures, and we're hoping you guys like that. All right, thank you very much, and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.